Hi everyone, thank you for tuning in, and in this video we're going to talk about a very important topic, not only to Americans, and I'm sure it's going to be important to immigrants who moved here, to those of us who are planning to move here and have heard about the policing and the police in the US, and sometimes it was a hyperbole, so you don't really know if everything that you were told by the news and everything else, or different resources that kind of echoed a certain news, like the football player being pulled over because of his tinted window, or George Floyd. Are they correct? Are they not? Is police that harsh with the American citizens 24/7? Are there certain injustices when it comes to the people of color? How about those who have an accent like me or are not as familiar with the English as majority of immigrants don't know their laws? And also, what is the solution? What is somebody, an average citizen, think of the system and think that what should be done basically in order to fix it? And are there any suggestions with regards to somebody who has studied political science, who have taken certain courses with regards to this aspect, who went to one of the most liberal schools and was taught certain things about the police and the policing in the US, and then later on to come out and live this life, deal with the realities, run a family, taking care of his disabled father, his younger brother. What was his experience? And him being in this different categories, a person of color and all of that, how was it really connected or parallel to everything that is echoed in the news? Now, before you close this video and kind of quit and say, oh, this is another video that is this person is just gonna nag about the policing because he's a person of color or he has an immigrant background, and of course police is only good to white people and not other races. No, this video is not about that. Again, I'm just gonna talk about my experiences, but that's going to be on the second portion of this video, which going to be related to my answer and what I think should be a suggestion that is pushed forward with regards to the policing and the problem that we currently have. And I believe it's something that is affecting everybody, even white people and those who majority of people think are kind of in favor of policing are being affected by it. And what is the problem? That's going to be the main topic of this video. That's what I'm going to focus on. And I'm kind of break it down so those immigrants, those people who are trying to move here, get a very good understanding of how it is and what's the system like and what are the gaps, and also kind of talk about this whole thing from different perspectives. One time I was very liberal, going to these schools and being taught certain things, certain perspectives being pushed into me, and then things will change, and I have to kind of make a position or take a position myself. All right, so first of all, let's talk about, or where do I see the problem as a citizen, as somebody who is living here, somebody who took courses about the policing and the police in the US, and somebody who is basically living and has had to deal with the police in different occasions firsthand. Sometimes we had the packages stolen, so we had to go to the police station. Sometimes I was pulled over, but due to speeding or another matters, so it was a traffic stop. And other times I've witnessed a crime, another time I witnessed a crash. So I had to deal with the police in different occasions, and I want to be a lawyer. I love the laws. I know that anyone and everyone need the laws in order to protect themselves. So I try to play my part as a good citizen and always be active and involved. And the problem that I see currently going on with the police community, which again, it's the main concept of this video and the whole thing kind of surrounding it, is the fact that they have too much power when it comes to making the legal calls, when it comes to making the legal determinations. and I think that should be circumscribed and limited by every mean, because it's not the fact that they're more powerful than an average citizen because they carry a gun, because they have pepper spray, or they have handcuffs. It's the fact that everybody in the US is super busy, with everything that is going on in their lives, because this country is an amazing country and full of opportunities. So everybody wants to grow and kind of take their lives to the next level. And that means working hard. That means taking chances. That means, dealing with all the uncertainties. So people are very busy in general in the US. And sure, in certain aspects, they are slaves, okay? But in compared to other countries and other lives, they are getting a lot more back, based on the performance and the jobs that they're doing, okay? So A, they're busy. B, since 2020, with the costs of everything going up and the inflation, now you can look at the data and you will see that majority of Americans are holding 2 or 3 jobs. What does that mean? Is that majority of them are either having or handling 3 part-time jobs, or like 1 full-time job, 1 part-time job, and I personally have witnessed it firsthand. At night when I have to walk my dog, I will see that these engineers, people with formal clothing, they will pull up with cars and they're delivering foods to these different apartments that I live around. And these people, they do not pull up with like your, beater cars, the cars that are unvaluable. They are pulling up in nice cars. And that just means that they're doing anything and everything in order to make up for that difference of price, for that inflation that they're experiencing, either with their PG&E bills, or with their gas prices, or with the insurance prices, which is going to keep going up, especially after the whole hurricane stuff going on. So what does that mean? That means they even have less time in order to fight back when police put them in a situation that is not just, that they have to go out and defend themselves. They often do not have the time. So they give into paying that amount, that fine that it was given to them, because they don't know the laws, they don't have the ability to speak or follow up, going to the right offices. They give in. I've seen millions, or come across like a lot of cases with regards to immigrants, that they just don't know the law very well, so they just give into it. They're like, I don't know how to read it, I don't know how to fight it, I don't know where to go, I don't have the ability to speak it. They don't know the basic laws in order to defend themselves at the moment when this thing is happening to them. So they just give in. They're like, okay, whatever the fine or the punishment is, I'm just gonna pay it. So people are really at a disadvantage already with the inflation and with how busy they are in the US in compared to other countries. Therefore, these police officers, putting them away, giving them fines that are unjust, or with like the whole injustices that is going on, it's just too much. And it's hurting citizens, and it's hurting Americans, and people are all pissed off that certain people, because they have certain powers, and in this case, we're talking about cops and the police officers, they can hurt them. They can put their lives in jeopardy. They can add stress to their lives. They can add extra expenses to their lives, and they're just sick of it. Okay? And that's the reality of it. That's the portion that you have to take away in compared to every negative things that you hear from the news. All right, so you will see that this is way more important, and that's the reason that I'm making the argument that this system is hurting everybody, and nobody is really at the favor of these police officers. Now the problem is that, again, we have goods and bad apples, and in every situation, in every pots, and in every occupations, and it's not further from the policing and the police officers. All right, so now what is my suggestion? The suggestion is that they should be limited when it comes to the legal perspective of it. because a majority of police officers are not lawyers, because majority of police officers are not judges, majority of police officers do not hold an LLM degree, they're not educated with laws, they go to an academy, and a lot of them are, they just have a basic high school diploma, or they come out of army, and they just take certain courses, they do their times, and now all of a sudden they pass the test and they're police officers. Okay, nice. It's a great occupation. It's an honorable thing to do. But what is lacking is that how much power that they have in their hands in order to make the calls, in order to put away certain people because they just simply think that at that moment, whatever judgment that they're making is correct. Now, of course, your counter argument will be that, hey, we have all these district attorneys and all these lawyers that can fight back against their calls and kind of save citizens. But it's not always the case. Nowadays, it's even hard to find the lawyers that would accept your case. Okay? Not along the talking about like the expenses that will come with it, not along that we're talking about the time and the energy that one has to invest in it, as well as the stresses. Again, everybody in US are living a very stressful life. Those that you see are on the beaches or like basically enjoying life 24/7, they're either a very small percentage of Americans, or those are very privileged. Okay, therefore that should be limited, and in my humble opinion is that they can have a legal team, a very well legal team, just like we have 911, just like we call them and they're available 24/7. They can have a legal team that is available to them 24/7. Sure, they can detain somebody, meaning they can say, hey, you sit here, hey, you stay here until I make the determination. They can put a handcuff on those people. They can keep them at a place. They can call that team that is contained of multiple lawyers in order to run the scenario with them, in order to make sure that they have enough evidence to lock that guy up, in order to make sure that they have enough evidence to give that person the full citations, the 4 or 5 citations that they like pulling up because that person is driving a Lambo or whatever. My point is this: there need to be a solid legal foundation behind these police officers for them to make the right calls and not just act based on their ego, because majority of humans, they take advantage of all these powers that have been given to them, and police officers are no different, especially if we're talking about the bad apples. Because in my experience, and this is the second part of the video, which is related to what we started to talk about. Every encounter that I had with the police officers, they have been just, they have been very reasonable with me. And to be honest, in certain cases, they understood my situation and they let go of me, even though I was at wrong. Like for example, one time I passed the stop sign because my father was in a hospital. My brain was like going 100 miles an hour, just thinking about all these different things that I had to do. I was coming from a community college just to get to a hospital and basically see what kind of pills I have to purchase in order to give to my dad. And I didn't see the stop sign, and I just passed through it basically. And then the police pulled me over, and I explained all the situation. I had literally had the documents on the passenger seat, and they let me go. They gave me a warning. And it was very good to see that humans have heart, that they're not robots, that they understand one another, that they let me go, because if that, I don't know how much is the ticket, but it would have made my day worse. All right, especially with everything else that was going on. But there were other incidents that I needed advice, that I had packages stolen. I went to the police department. I talked to them. One time I had my car towed. I went there, super nice and understanding, and I appreciate it. However, I have to put it in parentheses that I understand that I live in a nicer area. I live in California, and I live in a nicer part of the California. It's a small town. Everybody knows each other. and the crime rates are pretty low. So in order for the crime rates to stay low and the town to look good, sometimes police officers in my town are not as harsh or as picky as they might be on other areas. All right, so that could be a factor too. I'm not trying to, counterfact what I've just said, or counter argument what I just said with my previous claims, which all the interactions that I had with them was peacefully and cordial and very nice and understanding. But what I'm trying to say is that that could be also a factor. Therefore, I think if we could have a system that potentially in future I advocate for, or somebody watches this video and advocates for it, that will provide these police officers with a 24/7 legal aid, just like 911, that they can make the call, just like all the operators that they have with the walkie-talkie when they say 10-4 or something like that, and somebody is behind the line and answering or looking up all the information for them. If they can have their legal team that would answer those questions, that would tell them, hey, if you have the right to kind of arrest someone or not, that will resolve the situation, or at least bring all these implications down, then leaving everything on their hand for them to make the right call. Because if you watch these First Amendment videos, you will see that how egoistic some of these cops are. They don't know the laws. They don't know that the Constitution trumps these bylaws that an office might have. They don't know that they cannot kick a person out of a public building. Neither a public building is clearly defined to them. All right. So all these mistakes can take place. But that cop, at the moment, in today's day, and 2024, he has the ability to push you out, to disregard your rights and your, the right to just be there, the right to just say, hey, I'm a citizen too, I have these rights, I want to be here and conduct my business. They can just deny it because they believe that they understand the law better than you. They believe that they are right and your argument is wrong. And they just kick you out. Now all of a sudden you're anti-cop or you're a hater. I hope this video helps you to get a better understanding of the real situation that is going on in the US. The main factor or the main problem from somebody who was a poli-sci major and had to take multiple courses with regards to the policing in the US was involved heavily with everything that was going on in 2020 with George Floyd, with the protests, and had to live this life, had to interact with cops. He is a person of color, he is an immigrant, and he might stutter when he is in a very pushed or difficult situation or stressful situation, when he is not functioning or being able to talk back as well to these cops. But this has been my experience. I believe this is the problem here in the US, and I believe the solution that I proposed or put forward is something that can potentially bring down this altercation between the cops and citizens and what we currently have going on in the US. I hope this video was useful to you. This video is not or was not intended to be a legal advice, so please do not take that from this video. And I hope you follow and subscribe to this channel. And until the next one, peace.